In this video, I'll tell you who I am and why you're doing qualitative research with me.
The next question is...
You're full of questions.
So my name is Paul Duckett. I'm a critical psychologist, and I'll be your tutor for the qualitative component of this unit. I've been teaching and researching in psychology for close to 30 years, since 1994 in the UK and since 2012 here in Australia. And I'm a qualitative researcher. I became a qualitative researcher very early on in my career. In fact, it was when I was an honours student. I was working with disabled people at the time, and disabled people back then were even more socially excluded than they are today, to the point that no one was really listening to them. And qualitative methods provided a means to give voice to the stories of disabled people in a form that could be published in professional and scientific journals and reports, which could then feed in to policy reforms impacting disabled people's lives. In fact, my qualitative work continued into my PhD, which I began early in 1994, and that work fed into the writing of the UK Disability Discrimination Act that was enacted in the mid-1990s. Why am I telling you that? Why am I giving you that bit of a boast? Because I need you to know that you can inform significant social change through using qualitative research. And that was understood in most areas of the social sciences way back then in the early 1990s. But way back then, qualitative research was not taken seriously by psychology. It was rarely included in psychology students' undergraduate training, and when it was included, it was an optional thing rather than a core prescribed thing. You know, students didn't have to take it. They had the option not to. It's not always been the case that psychology has sort of turned its back on qualitative methods. Way back in the earliest days of psychology, when psychology became recognized as a profession and as a science, qualitative research was valued. Indeed, Wilhelm Wundt, the guy who is seen as the founder of experimental psychology and the founder of the first ever psychology laboratory, established in 1879, go Google it, he stated that qualitative research was and should continue to be as equally important in psychology as quantitative research. But that changed sometime around the 1920s with the rejection of introspection, the rejection of psychoanalysis, and the replacement of those things with a way of doing psychology that became known as behaviorism, the school of behaviorism. But that's another story, and we're not going to tell that story just now. The thing to know is that qualitative research was valued early on, but it's been devalued for most of psychology's modern history. But now it's begun to be valued once more. In the UK, that really properly happened back in 2002, and that was when qualitative research methods became recognised as a skill required of graduates from psychology undergraduate degree programs. Here in Australia, we've only just had the same thing happen. It happened in the new standards applied by psychology's accrediting body, AHPRA. Those new standards were published in 2019, but they're only just rolling out across psychology programs, because psychology programs in Australia are re-accredited every 5 years. So a psychology course that was accredited in 2018, prior to these new standards coming in, won't have to make those changes, i.e. making training in qualitative methods a core part of the degree. They don't have to make those changes until they go through re-accreditation in 2023. So we're still behind in many ways, and we're still catching up. So things have been slow here in Australia, and that's going to impact us on this unit, because for us it might mean that either you or a number of your classmates are coming to this unit never having done qualitative methods before, or worse still, you might be coming into qualitative methods thinking that somehow it's not a proper science, but it is a proper science. I'm going to convince you of that. But don't worry, we've taken into account the fact that you might not have done qualitative methods before. And I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to work my little socks off to convince you that qualitative research is a proper science and it's worth doing. So you could look forward to that. Now, in the next video, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to teach you and what I'm going to teach you. Okay, so till then, ta-da.